walk slowly into the forest, feeling the soft earth beneath your feet. Each step is a gentle pulse, sinking into the soil as if the ground itself breathes with you. The morning light filters through the canopy above, spilling gold and green across the path. Sunlight slides along leaves, touching edges with a delicate shimmer, like the brush of a kind hand. You notice the subtle rustle of branches, not the loud creaks of wind, but the tiny vibration that carries life itself. Here, every leaf is an instrument, part of a quiet symphony playing just for you. The air smells soft and fertile, filled with the promise of growth. You inhale slowly, feeling oxygen mingle with your own heartbeat, connecting you to the vast world of green. Your body begins to relax, moving in rhythm with the invisible pulse of the forest. Each leaf seems to quiver with anticipation, as if aware of the sun's gentle arrival. Tiny veins shimmer under the light, delicate highways carrying sustenance through every stem, every branch. It feels almost sacred, this silent exchange between sunlight and leaf, like a whispered secret you were always meant to hear. As you walk deeper, the forest opens around you, revealing clusters of leaves trembling in the soft breeze. Each leaf has a story written in its shape and color. Some are broad and smooth, catching every possible photon, while others are thin and delicate, turning and tilting to embrace the sun's warmth. You lean closer to one, tracing the network of veins like a miniature map. Here, light is not merely seen. It is transformed, absorbed into a process so intimate and quiet, it almost feels like magic. But it is real, a science that hums in harmony with life, as natural and essential as your own breathing. You begin to notice the subtle choreography of the forest. Sunlight spills across a cluster of leaves, then shifts as the breeze moves the branches. The leaves respond in kind, bending and twisting, tilting to catch the light more fully. There is no rush, no urgency, only the slow, deliberate flow of energy from the sun to the leaves, from the leaves to the air, from the air to every living creature. It is a soft, constant rhythm, like waves rolling gently onto a quiet shore. You feel your own pulse align with this rhythm, slowing and deepening as you watch the invisible work of photosynthesis unfold before your eyes. Each leaf vibrates with the energy it captures. Photons, tiny packets of light, are absorbed by pigments tucked within the cells. Chlorophyll, the green painter of life, welcomes them with quiet efficiency, nudging them along a hidden pathway. Energy flows through molecules, sparks of light converted into the beginning of sustenance, sugar forming slowly in an invisible kitchen inside the leaf. You feel the miracle not as something distant, but as a part of yourself. With each breath, you inhale oxygen gifted from this leafy alchemy. The forest and your body are entwined, co-authors of a silent, sustaining story. You pause by a small sapling, watching it tilt toward the sun with patient determination. Its tiny leaves are tender, fragile, yet full of potential. Water rises through its roots from deep within the soil, carrying minerals and memories of the earth. Sunlight meets water in the green cells, and a transformation begins that will ripple outward, invisible yet essential. You imagine the sugars forming within those leaves, fueling growth, quietly building a future. There is no hurry here, only a gentle persistence, a patient accumulation of energy that sustains life in its softest, most enduring form. The forest hums with life you cannot see. Tiny insects hover, unnoticed, guided by the chemical fragrances released from leaves. Birds call from distant branches, their songs harmonizing with the hidden rhythm of chloroplasts at work. Even the wind seems choreographed, nudging the leaves just enough to maximize the dance of light and life. You feel enveloped, cocooned in this living symphony. Every sense opens, not to grasp or control, but simply to witness, to participate in the quiet miracle of existence. Time seems to stretch and bend as you walk further into this green cathedral. The interplay of light, air, and leaf creates a gentle, hypnotic cadence. You find yourself attuned to it, heart and mind synchronizing with the invisible pulse that runs through all living things. Here, knowledge does not feel like study. It feels like presence. You are part of the forest as much as it is part of you, connected through the soft, constant work of leaves converting sunlight into sustenance. This is a language older than words, older than memory. A quiet conversation between sun, leaf, and life. You kneel beside a cluster of moss, tiny green performers in miniature. Their surfaces glisten with dew, catching the morning sun in sparkling arcs. You watch as light enters their tiny cells, setting in motion the same ancient process occurring in the towering trees around you. Each photon has a purpose, each molecule a role, each leaf a contribution to the symphony that sustains the forest. You realize that even in the smallest details, life is active, conscious, and deeply interconnected. Your breath aligns with theirs, a gentle reminder of the invisible threads that bind all living things. As the sun climbs higher, the forest seems to exhale in a collective sigh. Light scatters across leaves, branches, and trunks, filling the spaces between with warmth and energy. You feel the gentle pulse of the forest beneath your fingertips, in the air you breathe, in the subtle vibration of every leaf. There is no hurry here, only an enduring rhythm that has persisted through millennia. You close your eyes, listening to the quiet symphony, feeling your mind slow, your thoughts soften, and your body sink into a gentle stillness. The forest teaches you patience, the beauty of slow energy, and the magic of transformation hidden in plain sight. As you rise to continue your journey, your mind lingers on the tender caress of sunlight and the way it touches each leaf with invisible precision, ready to guide you into the next secret the forest wishes to reveal, the gentle touch of sunlight itself. The sun rises slowly, casting its first tender beams through the forest canopy. You feel the warmth spill across your skin, soft and unhurried, like a gentle hand tracing your shoulder. Each ray slides through the spaces between branches, scattering into tiny golden threads that reach for the leaves. You notice how light settles differently on every surface, sometimes grazing the top of a leaf, sometimes penetrating deeper, illuminating veins and edges you would have missed. There is a softness to this touch, yet it carries an energy so profound it quietly drives the life around you. As you walk beneath the trees, the light seems to follow you, spilling across the forest floor in shifting patterns. Shadows lean and stretch, bending around roots and moss, creating a delicate interplay of dark and gold. You watch the leaves tilt and bend, turning toward the sun, eager to catch even the slightest photon. It is a dance, slow and meticulous, choreographed by the sun itself. You begin to sense that this light is not just a visual presence. It is a silent force, reaching into the very cells of leaves, beginning a process that will feed the forest and the air you breathe. You pause by a small branch, letting the light brush across your hand. You imagine each photon as a tiny traveler, moving at incredible speed, carrying energy from millions of kilometers away. They are invisible, yet their impact is tangible. As the photons meet the green surfaces of the leaves, a transformation begins. Chlorophyll, the quiet painter of life, welcomes the photons, absorbing their energy and nudging them along molecular pathways. Light becomes something more than illumination. It becomes a catalyst, a spark that will ignite the slow, vital alchemy of photosynthesis. The forest seems to hum with the arrival of sunlight. Every leaf responds in its own subtle way, adjusting angles, opening tiny pores, and readying itself for the energy it will receive. You feel as if you can hear the soft whispers of chloroplasts, the green organelles deep within each cell, as they awaken and prepare to convert light into chemical energy. It is a process both delicate and unstoppable, tender and relentless, quietly shaping the life of the forest from the tiniest fern to the tallest oak. You breathe slowly, noticing how your own body begins to echo the gentle rhythm of energy flowing through the leaves. Sunlight filters through the upper canopy, creating shifting mosaics on the forest floor. You follow these patterns, letting your eyes linger on the golden highlights, the emerald patches, and the interplay of shadow and light. You begin to understand how important every fraction of energy is, how photons that strike the right pigment will set in motion reactions that feed the tree, the air, and the ecosystem. The leaves are patient, waiting for the perfect moment, the right intensity, the precise angle of light. There is a quiet intelligence here, not of thought but of adaptation, of life that has learned to dance with the sun for millions of years. You kneel beside a cluster of young leaves, watching the sunlight settle gently across their surfaces. The light penetrates only a few cell layers, yet in that brief encounter, energy is transferred, electrons are excited, and a chain of reactions begins. You imagine these processes as a gentle ballet inside the leaves, tiny dancers moving in perfect rhythm, carrying energy from one molecule to another, building the invisible scaffolding of life. It is a process so subtle you might overlook it if you were not paying full attention. Yet it is the foundation of all growth, all movement, all breath. The warmth on your skin and the light on the leaves seem to speak to one another, connected by invisible threads. You notice the breeze stirring the branches, nudging leaves to shift and tilt toward the sun. Every movement feels deliberate, each adjustment maximizing the capture of light. It is a rhythm that repeats endlessly, a quiet persistence that has endured through seasons and centuries. You close your eyes and let yourself feel the sun's gentle touch, imagining energy moving from the sun into the leaves, into sugars, into oxygen, and into the world around you. As you rise and continue walking, your awareness of the photons deepens. They are both everywhere and nowhere, fleeting and infinite, tiny messengers of warmth and energy. You feel the forest respond to them in countless subtle ways. The shimmer of a leaf, the opening of a flower, the release of oxygen into the air. You understand that sunlight is not simply illumination. It is the silent force that powers life, a tender, fierce, and unceasing gift. Every leaf, every branch, every blade of grass is participating in this quiet miracle, transforming light into life in ways too intricate to see with the eye alone. You pause again, letting the warmth settle in your chest. The sunlight seems to linger, pouring into your senses, mingling with your breath. You imagine the photons that have traveled across space, journeyed through the atmosphere, and now rest briefly on your skin before moving on. They are gentle yet insistent, a reminder that energy is always flowing, always transforming. You sense the intimacy of the connection between sun and leaf, between energy and life, between the forest and yourself. It is a conversation without words, a rhythm older than memory, as natural as your own heartbeat. The leaves respond to the sunlight in a subtle, continuous ballet, absorbing, bending, and channeling the energy into molecules that will feed the forest and, eventually, you. You feel the slow unfolding of these interactions, like a story told in whispers, too soft to hear unless you are fully present. Your mind begins to quiet, your body relaxes, and you become aware of the soft pulse of life all around you, carried on the gentle touch of sunlight. And as you continue deeper into the forest, sunlight cradling every leaf and branch, you find yourself drawn toward the green pigments shimmering like tiny emerald painters. You wonder how this energy will flow, how it will shape the sugars and oxygen that sustain all living things, guiding you softly into the next secret waiting within the forest. The story of chlorophyll, nature's painter. You move gently through the forest, feeling the warmth of sunlight lingering on your skin. Every leaf around you glows with an inner light, catching rays in ways that seem almost deliberate, almost conscious. You kneel beside a fern and observe the tiny, intricate surfaces, noticing the green so deep and vivid it feels like a secret. That green is chlorophyll, a quiet alchemist, an unseen painter of life. You lean closer, imagining the pigments not as static color, but as soft, vibrating threads, each one ready to catch photons and transform them into energy. Chlorophyll is both simple and miraculous. It absorbs the sunlight you see as gold and translates it into the language of molecules. You feel as if each pigment is a tiny artist, painting with invisible brushes, moving with rhythm only it can feel. The energy of light does not simply rest on the leaf. It is pulled inside, into a network of chloroplasts, where electrons are excited and molecules begin a dance that has been performed countless times since the earliest days of life. You imagine the electrons leaping with joy, carrying the sun's gift into hidden chambers, and feel a sense of wonder at how something so small can hold such power. The leaf is alive in a way that feels almost sacred. Its surface shimmers as sunlight falls, and you sense the interplay between energy and structure. The pigments are tuned to catch particular wavelengths of light, reds and blues most efficiently, while green is reflected, giving the leaf its familiar color. You notice how this reflection is not waste, but choice. It is a balance, a harmony with the world around it. You feel your body relax, absorbing not just the warmth of the sun, but the quiet intelligence of the leaf. Every inch of it is designed to capture energy and gently transform it into something nourishing and sustaining. You reach out to touch the soft fronds of the fern, imagining the chlorophyll beneath your fingers. Within each cell, tiny chloroplasts drift like green lanterns, floating amid watery spaces, ready to begin their work. You picture photons entering these organelles, each one absorbed by a pigment, setting electrons into motion. That energy is then carried along molecular pathways, moving like ripples across a pond, eventually fueling the creation of sugar molecules that will sustain the plant, and through it, the life of countless creatures. It is a process invisible to the eye, yet as real and vital as your heartbeat. The forest hums with quiet activity. You notice how light seems to glimmer differently on leaves at different angles, how the edges bend to meet the sun, how even the tiniest variations in color signal subtle differences in energy capture. You feel the intimacy of this work, how each chlorophyll molecule contributes to a greater whole, like musicians playing notes in a symphony too complex to be heard all at once. You inhale deeply, realizing that the oxygen you breathe is already the result of these tiny painters at work, gifts of energy transformed into life itself. As you wander, you come across a small sapling. Its young leaves are tender, delicate, and a lighter shade of green. You kneel to examine them, imagining the chlorophyll within like threads of liquid light, each one vibrating with possibility. Sunlight hits the leaf, and electrons are energized, moving through pathways that have existed for billions of years. Energy flows into molecules that will become sugar, which will travel through veins and stems to nourish roots, flowers, and fruits. You feel the quiet patience of this process, the slow, meticulous transformation of light into life, and your own breath seems to match the rhythm of this hidden symphony. You notice the soft folds and curves of each leaf, designed to maximize exposure to sunlight. The pigments respond to the intensity of light, adjusting the flow of energy like a conductor controlling the volume of an orchestra. You imagine chlorophyll molecules as tiny dancers, swaying and spinning, passing energy from one to another, exchanging electrons in a silent, coordinated ballet. The energy that began as sunlight now exists as sugar, a portable, storable form that can travel to any part of the plant. You marvel at the intimacy of this transformation, how invisible motions sustain all visible life. You pause by a patch of moss, tiny emerald performers carpeting the forest floor. Their surfaces glisten with dew, catching rays of sunlight in 1,000 tiny prisms. Even here, in miniature, chlorophyll works its quiet magic. Each photon absorbed is converted into energy, electrons leap along chains, and sugar begins to form. You feel the universality of this process, connecting moss, fern, tree, and ultimately yourself. Every breath you take, every ounce of energy in your body, is linked to this ancient, ongoing transformation. The forest seems to exhale as you watch. Sunlight pours through gaps in the canopy, and leaves tilt and bend to capture every available photon. Chlorophyll, so small, works tirelessly, absorbing energy, channeling it into molecular dances, sustaining not only the plant but every living being around it. You sense the delicate balance of efficiency and gentleness in the process. It is neither hurried nor wasteful. It is patient, precise, and enduring, a rhythm older than memory. You close your eyes and imagine the invisible electrons leaping through chloroplasts, the molecules vibrating in quiet joy, and feel your own body aligned with this pulse of energy. You feel gratitude for the green pigment beneath the sun's touch, for its ability to turn light into life, for the way it links the air, the soil, the water, and the creatures that wander beneath the canopy. You begin to understand the intimacy of photosynthesis, How a single pigment can carry the power of the sun into the hands of the forest. Every leaf is a canvas, every photon a stroke of light, and every chemical reaction a brush of creation. You feel yourself part of this artistry, breathing in the oxygen that carries the memory of these green painters, carrying life into your lungs and every cell of your body. As you rise to continue your journey, the forest seems to shimmer with a deeper understanding. You look at the sunlight filtering through the leaves, the shimmering green that captures and transforms it, and realize that chlorophyll is both painter and poet, translator and messenger. It turns the invisible into the tangible, light into sugar, energy into life. And as you move toward the next grove, your thoughts are drawn to water, rising silently from roots to leaves, joining the dance with sunlight, guiding you softly into the next chapter of the forest's secret, the gentle journey of water itself. You step closer to the roots of a towering oak, feeling the cool, damp earth beneath your hands. Tiny droplets cling to soil particles, glimmering like captured stars. Water waits here, patient and unseen, ready to begin its long, silent journey upward. You imagine each drop carrying whispers of the deep earth, minerals, nutrients, memories of rain, and the slow pulse of the soil itself. It is a quiet pilgrimage, a journey without haste, yet essential to every living thing it touches. You press your fingertips into the rich soil, sensing the gentle flow beneath the surface. The roots drink deeply, pulling water into their hidden vessels, drawing it upward like an invisible ladder toward the sunlight. Every molecule is engaged in this slow ascent, climbing tiny xylem tubes, rising against gravity, guided by forces you cannot see but can feel in the steady rhythm of life around you. You imagine the journey as a gentle stream, winding its way through narrow passageways, carrying life from the unseen depths to the bright, green canopy above. The water rises with subtle grace, moving into stems and branches, weaving its way through a network of channels as intricate as any city. You picture each drop slipping past cell walls, threading through microscopic tunnels, always moving upward with quiet determination. Along the way, it nourishes the plant, delivering minerals and sustaining growth. You notice how this invisible river supports leaves, buds, flowers, and eventually the air itself, as oxygen and energy circulate through the ecosystem. Every living thing in the forest depends on this gentle, persistent movement. Sunlight meets water in the leaves, where chlorophyll patiently waits. You watch as the photons arrive, and the water molecules split in the quiet alchemy of photosynthesis. It is a gentle, almost secretive reaction, releasing oxygen to the air and allowing electrons to flow into molecular chains that will form sugar. You feel the intimacy of this process, the way liquid and light meet as old friends, collaborating to create life. The forest is alive in this convergence, every drop a participant in the delicate dance of energy and nourishment. As you wander beneath the canopy, you notice droplets clinging to leaf edges, trembling in the sunlight. You imagine the tiny forces pulling water upward, the tension created by evaporation at the leaf surface, drawing liquid from roots deep below. It is a process invisible to the eye, yet every leaf, every vein, every cell participates in this quiet choreography. You inhale the forest's humid breath and feel the connection between the moisture in the air and the river of water flowing through the plant, a continuous loop sustaining life. You follow a rivulet of water in your imagination, rising through a fern stem. Tiny hairs and cellular walls guide its path, twisting and turning as it moves toward the leaf. The journey is neither hurried nor forceful. It is patient, rhythmic, and reliable. You notice how this movement mirrors your own breathing, drawn upward, distributed, circulating, and finally returning to the world. Every molecule of water becomes a storyteller, carrying history from the soil to the sun, from root to leaf, a messenger of life traveling along invisible highways. At the leaf, the water joins sunlight in a silent embrace. The energy from photons excites electrons, triggering chemical reactions within chloroplasts. You imagine this meeting as a gentle handshake, a soft agreement between light and liquid to transform into something new. Sugar begins to form, oxygen drifts quietly into the air, and energy spreads outward, touching all living beings connected to this tiny, vibrant leaf. You feel the intimacy of this moment, the invisible teamwork sustaining the forest around you and every breath you take. You notice how water continues its subtle work even after photosynthesis begins. Some travels deeper into tissues, sustaining cells and strengthening structures. Some moves to nourish buds and flowers, carrying the potential for new growth. You sense that every drop has purpose, every path is precise, yet nothing feels mechanical. There is a softness, a rhythm, a harmony that feels alive. You close your eyes and imagine these unseen rivers, moving ceaselessly, linking roots to leaves, soil to sky, forest to life. Alongside the leaf veins, water and nutrients spread in quiet streams, entering cells and filling spaces where energy will be stored. You feel the intimacy of each molecule's journey, how it moves patiently, avoiding obstacles, following channels laid down over millions of years of evolution. It is a form of intelligence without thought, a responsiveness to environment and need, a quiet orchestration that sustains all living beings. You begin to see yourself as part of this flow, inhaling the oxygen created, feeling energy from sugar released in your own body, connected to these ancient, silent rivers of water and light. You imagine a single droplet that began in rain high above the canopy, now climbing through roots, stems, and veins. This journey spans hours, days, perhaps even weeks. Along the way, it has nourished every leaf it touched, contributed to oxygen in the air, fed insects and birds indirectly, and supported the entire web of life beneath the trees. You feel the magnitude of this quiet contribution, the invisible choreography that sustains not only the forest but yourself. Every molecule participates willingly, unhurriedly, like dancers in a slow, eternal waltz. Water's journey is more than a mechanical process. It is a story of patience, persistence, and partnership. You feel your own body reflecting this rhythm, the flow of fluids within you echoing the forest's silent rivers, breathing, circulating, transforming, just as water does in leaves, stems, and roots. You notice the harmony between liquid and light, between energy and nourishment, and the gentle way it sustains life without fanfare. You feel gratitude for this unseen, vital movement, and the quiet intelligence of nature guiding every molecule toward its purpose. As the sun continues its climb, droplets glisten along leaves, reflecting light in tiny prisms. You imagine the next step for water, moving ever deeper into the leaf, participating in photosynthesis, joining with sunlight and chlorophyll to create sugar and oxygen. You sense the intimacy of this process and the quiet rhythm it sets for the forest. Water has traveled from the depths of the earth to the heights of the canopy, ready to join the dance of energy and life, guiding you gently toward the next chapter, where photons themselves will leap and twirl in the forest's hidden ballet. You step into a sunlit clearing, feeling warmth cascade across your skin. Light shimmers through the leaves above, scattering in dappled patterns that sway gently with the breeze. You begin to notice something extraordinary. Each ray of sunlight is composed of countless photons, tiny packets of energy traveling across space and time, arriving from the sun to participate in a dance that has been ongoing for billions of years. They are small, nearly invisible, yet their impact is enormous. You feel their presence, subtle but insistent, as if each photon carries a whisper of energy meant only for you. You imagine a single photon, moving impossibly fast, hurtling through space until it reaches the edge of a leaf. It does not simply strike and vanish. It begins a journey, interacting with chlorophyll molecules, exciting electrons into motion. The photon is playful, leaping between molecules, passing energy in an invisible relay. You see this not as a chaotic scattering, but as a precise choreography, a dance tuned over eons to carry sunlight's power into life. You feel your own breath slow, your heartbeat syncing with the gentle rhythm of these hidden movements. The leaves respond to this invisible ballet with grace. They tilt and twist, maximizing contact with photons, guiding them toward chloroplasts where the true dance begins. You watch as light penetrates the green surface, electrons are lifted, and energy pulses along molecular chains. Each movement is deliberate, each interaction perfect in its timing. It is a choreography so refined that the tiniest misstep could disrupt the flow. Yet the system has evolved to perfection, allowing life to flourish without pause. You sense that every leaf around you is participating in this performance, each photon a dancer, each molecule a stage. You step closer to a fern, its delicate fronds quivering in the light. You imagine the photons skipping across surfaces, entering the cells, exciting electrons, and passing energy along an invisible ladder. The motion is playful, almost joyous, a tiny celebration occurring silently within each leaf. It is a dance you cannot see with your eyes, yet it is no less real, no less vital. You feel yourself drawn into the rhythm, imagining the leap of electrons as sparks of energy igniting the slow creation of sugar, the very fuel of life. Sunlight is not uniform. Photons arrive in different wavelengths, each with its own energy and character. You notice how chlorophyll absorbs reds and blues more efficiently, leaving green reflected, turning the forest canopy into a shimmering emerald sea. You imagine each photon as a dancer with a unique costume and tempo, moving in coordination with countless others. Some pass their energy quickly, others linger, contributing to the rhythm of molecular reactions. The complexity is staggering, yet the forest flows as one, a quiet, harmonious performance that sustains all life around you. As you wander deeper into the forest, beams of light scatter across leaves, creating a mosaic of illumination. Photons bounce, refract, and merge, weaving invisible threads of energy throughout the green canopy. You feel as if you can see the threads connecting leaf to leaf, molecule to molecule, forming a network of energy that supports roots, stems, flowers, and the air you breathe. Each photon participates willingly, each molecule responds precisely, and the forest becomes a living stage for an eternal, invisible dance. You kneel beside a young sapling, watching light glimmer across its tiny leaves. You picture photons entering the chloroplasts, raising electrons, and passing energy down electron transport chains. Every movement is a tiny leap of faith, a precise handoff of power, turning sunlight into sugar, the fuel that will nourish the sapling, feed the roots, and eventually support other creatures. You feel the intimacy of this process, the quiet intelligence of nature orchestrating life at the smallest scale. Each photon is a spark, each electron a dancer, and together they form a symphony of transformation you are privileged to witness. Even in the shadows, photons play their part. Light reflects and refracts, filling gaps, scattering into areas you might assume were dark. The forest is never truly without energy. It flows through every branch and leaf, invisible yet persistent. You imagine photons leaping from leaf to leaf, sometimes absorbed, sometimes redirected, contributing to the overall rhythm of life. The subtlety of this process mirrors the gentle pulse of your own breath, the slow rise and fall of your chest, the quiet beat of your heart in tune with the natural world. Water and photons meet again in the leaves, joining in a delicate collaboration. You picture droplets within the cells, ready to split, releasing oxygen and passing electrons into molecular chains. Photons have done their work, transferring energy that will feed the creation of sugar. You sense the intimacy of this partnership, the way liquid and light, energy and matter, work together in quiet precision. Every particle contributes, every movement matters, and the dance continues unbroken, sustaining forests, animals, and even your own body as you breathe in oxygen and energy. You notice the subtle patterns of movement in the leaves. Each leaf tip, each vein, each fold seems to respond to the flow of photons. There is intelligence here, not conscious thought, but adaptation honed over billions of years. The forest has learned to maximize every interaction, to capture sunlight, and transform it efficiently, rhythmically, and gently. You feel your mind soften as you observe, your body slowing, your awareness expanding into the quiet pulse of the forest. You sense that life is not rushed. It is patient, precise, and perfectly attuned to the invisible rhythm of energy flowing through every photon, every molecule, every leaf. As the sun climbs higher, light becomes brighter, more energetic, Yet the dance continues without strain. Photons leap and twirl across molecular stages. Electrons follow their leads, and sugar is formed in silent abundance. You feel awe for this delicate, invisible choreography, for the unseen performers shaping life on Earth. It is a dance without applause, without recognition, yet infinitely essential. You inhale deeply, feeling the connection between photons, leaves, water, and yourself, a shared rhythm that spans the forest and the sky. You rise and continue through the sunlit grove, the energy of photons still echoing in your mind. Each ray seems alive, skipping, bouncing, carrying potential. You sense how these tiny dancers will continue their work, joining water, chlorophyll, and sugar in the ongoing story of life. And as you walk, you feel drawn toward the invisible air around you, the oxygen quietly released, the gentle exchange that connects every living thing, guiding you softly toward the next chapter. The breath of life itself, carried in the oxygen born from this endless, playful dance of light. You pause in the forest clearing, feeling the warmth of sunlight on your face. Every leaf around you shimmers with life, a quiet theater where water and photons have already performed their invisible ballet. Now, another gift is released, a gift so subtle, so essential, you might take it for granted if you do not pay attention. Oxygen drifts quietly from each leaf, invisible, weightless, yet utterly vital. You inhale slowly, feeling the air enter your lungs, carrying with it the results of countless unseen dances. Every breath connects you to the leaves, to the sunlight, to water, and to the living world surrounding you. You imagine each oxygen molecule as a tiny messenger, rising from the leaf in a gentle exhalation. It slips past veins, emerges from stomata, and floats into the air, joining countless others in an invisible river of life. You feel the intimacy of this exchange, the forest breathing with you, your own breath entwined with the green canopy above. It is a cyclical rhythm, soft and enduring, a pulse older than memory, older than the trees themselves. You sense that life is sustained not in grand gestures, but in this quiet, continuous act of giving and receiving. The forest is full of gentle motion. Leaves flutter in the breeze, sunlight glimmers along their surfaces, and oxygen drifts in invisible currents. You can almost hear the soft sigh of the forest as it releases its breath into the world, a subtle gift of life to every creature that inhales. Your lungs fill with this essence, and you feel a connection that stretches far beyond yourself, linking the molecules in your body to the leaves, the sun, and the air. It is a reminder that nothing exists alone, that every breath is part of a vast, invisible conversation. You wander along a small path, noticing how each leaf contributes to the shared atmosphere. Some oxygen rises immediately, others linger, held briefly within cells before joining the air. It is a slow, patient process, perfectly timed, perfectly balanced. You feel gratitude for this hidden generosity, the unseen alchemy that transforms water and sunlight into something that nourishes every living being. You begin to appreciate the intimacy of this cycle. Each photon absorbed, each water molecule split, each electron passed along, all culminating in a quiet exhalation that sustains life. As you continue, your awareness expands to the forest beyond your immediate gaze. Birds glide through the branches, insects hover, and small mammals move in and out of sight. All rely on the oxygen released by the leaves, the silent gift of energy transformed into air. You imagine yourself part of this intricate web, connected to every creature that breathes the same forested air. Your body participates in this eternal exchange, inhaling what leaves give, exhaling in return, contributing to the same cyclical rhythm that has persisted for eons. You kneel beside a young sapling, its tiny leaves trembling in the sunlight. The chlorophyll has done its work, transforming light and water into sugar and oxygen. You feel the soft presence of those molecules entering the air, floating toward you, becoming part of your breath, your blood, your cells. There is an intimacy here that feels almost sacred, a connection between the visible world and the invisible forces sustaining it. You close your eyes and imagine the countless oxygen molecules rising from the canopy, each one a messenger of life, each one a participant in the endless, quiet miracle of existence. The forest around you seems to hum with vitality. You notice the interplay of shadows and light, of wind and leaf, of water and photon, all converging to sustain this gentle exhalation. Every movement, no matter how small, contributes to the cycle. You feel the connection between your body and the forest, how your inhalation mirrors the leaf's release, how your cells thrive on the molecules created from light and water. Life is a quiet choreography, unfolding endlessly, connecting each being through invisible exchanges of energy, matter, and breath. You watch the sun rise higher, casting a golden glow across the leaves. Each tree, shrub, and blade of grass participates, tirelessly releasing oxygen into the air. You imagine the molecules traveling through the forest, carried by breezes and currents, eventually mingling with air far beyond this grove. Each inhalation draws them into your lungs, nourishing every cell, fueling energy, sustaining thought. You feel the beauty of this invisible generosity, the endless reciprocity between the forest and yourself, between leaves and lungs, between life and breath. As you walk deeper, you notice subtle signs of the forest's respiration. Leaves shimmer with moisture, bending toward light, while tiny openings in their surfaces exhale oxygen in rhythmic pulses. The energy from sunlight and the journey of water converge here, producing molecules that will support birds, mammals, insects, and your own body. You feel a quiet awe for this silent process, so simple yet profound, so ordinary yet miraculous. Every molecule, every breath, every gentle exchange reminds you of the interconnectedness of life. You pause beside a moss-covered rock, inhaling deeply. You feel the oxygen fill your lungs, tracing its path to your heart, your bloodstream, your cells. You sense the chain of transformations that brought it to you, the photons that excited electrons, the water molecules split in sunlight, the chlorophyll that directed energy into sugar, and now oxygen released into the forest air. You feel both small and vast at once, a single participant in the grand rhythm of life, connected to all living beings through this invisible, shared breath. The forest exhales, and you exhale in harmony. There is no hurry, no separation, only flow, continuity, and connection. You notice the subtle exchange between yourself and the environment, how life is sustained by collaboration rather than isolation. The rhythm of giving and receiving is gentle, precise, and eternal. Every inhalation reminds you that you are not separate from the forest. You are woven into it, your life sustained by the quiet generosity of leaves and light, water and energy, all converging in the molecules that reach your lungs. You stand, feeling the forest's pulse beneath your feet, in the air, and within your own body. The oxygen around you is both invisible and essential, a gift born from the patient work of water, light, and chlorophyll. You sense the continuity of life in every molecule, every breath, every pulse. There is an intimacy in this cycle, a silent understanding between you and the forest that transcends time. You feel gratitude, wonder, and calm as your body syncs with the rhythm of leaves and air. And as you move along the path, inhaling the life-giving oxygen, you sense the next subtle gift awaiting your attention. Sugar, the gentle treasure formed in leaves, quietly storing the energy of sunlight and water, ready to fuel roots, flowers, and every creature in the forest. Your mind drifts toward this next transformation, guiding you softly into the chapter ahead, the quiet alchemy of sugar and its gentle, sustaining power. You pause in a sunlit glade, noticing how the forest seems to hum with a quiet energy. Every leaf, every blade of grass, every delicate frond has participated in a transformation you cannot see but can feel. Sunlight has been captured, water has risen from the depths of the soil, electrons have leapt through molecular stages, and oxygen has been released into the air you breathe. Now, another stage of the forest's quiet alchemy begins. Sugar, the gentle, invisible treasure that carries life's energy through leaves, stems, and roots. You imagine the chloroplasts as tiny kitchens within each leaf, bustling with silent activity. Photons and water have delivered their energy. Oxygen has quietly drifted away. Inside, carbon dioxide arrives, diffusing from the air through stomata, guided by subtle gradients. The molecules come together in careful precision. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms align, bond, and rearrange, forming glucose, a simple sugar yet profound in its potential. You sense the intimacy of this process, the way sunlight, water, and air converge to create something sweet, something portable, something that will sustain life. The sugar molecules are tiny, yet they carry enormous potential. You picture them as small packets of energy, carefully folded and stored within the leaves. Each molecule is a quiet promise, ready to nourish roots, flowers, and fruits. You feel the patience of the process, how energy must be carefully captured, transferred, and stored. Nothing is wasted, nothing hurried. The forest moves with a rhythm older than memory, a rhythm that you can sense if you slow yourself enough to notice. You wander along a narrow path, your fingers brushing the leaves as you imagine the journey of sugar within them. The molecules travel through veins, moving along phloem tubes like gentle streams. Some sugar remains within leaves, fueling growth and cellular maintenance. Other sugar begins its long journey downward, nourishing roots hidden deep in the soil. You imagine the molecules pausing at junctions, splitting, merging, moving with a quiet intelligence. Each one carries energy derived from sunlight, a gift transformed into a form that is easy to store and distribute. You kneel beside a young sapling, its tiny leaves trembling with potential. You watch as sugars form within chloroplasts, flowing into the veins and preparing to travel. Each molecule is small but potent, a concentrated whisper of sunlight and water. You feel the intimacy of this transformation, how it silently fuels growth and development. The energy of photons, once invisible and fleeting, now resides in these sugars, ready to support every cell, every bud, every leaf, and eventually every creature that relies on the plant's nourishment. The movement of sugar through the plant is graceful and patient. Phloem tubes carry these molecules, slowly and steadily, like streams winding through valleys. They nourish roots, strengthen branches, and feed buds waiting to bloom. You imagine each sugar molecule as a quiet traveler, carrying the energy of the sun and the memory of water's journey. The forest pulses with this hidden movement, sustaining life in ways that cannot be seen but can always be felt. Sunlight, water, chlorophyll, oxygen, and now sugar, all parts of a continuous story. You feel the rhythm of transformation, the gentle unfolding of energy from one form to another, the quiet persistence of life. You imagine the sugars reaching roots, providing energy for growth, interacting with soil microbes, feeding tiny creatures beneath the surface. You sense the universality of this process, how one small molecule carries the potential to support not only the plant but the ecosystem surrounding it. You rise and walk among taller trees, noticing how sugar fuels their slow, majestic growth. Branches extend towards sunlight, leaves spread to capture energy, and buds swell in preparation for flowers and fruit. The sugar molecules provide the building blocks for these transformations, quietly supplying energy where it is needed most. You feel the intimacy of this process, how energy captured in light and carried by water ultimately becomes sustenance for the forest and for all its creatures, including yourself. Every leaf, every vein, every cell participates in this gentle transformation. You imagine the sugars moving like dancers in a quiet, choreographed performance, delivering energy exactly where it is needed. You feel the elegance of this system, the patience and precision, the way life ensures nothing is wasted. Each step in the journey of sugar, from photon to chlorophyll to glucose, is a testament to nature's quiet intelligence and unhurried rhythm. The sugars also store potential. You picture them waiting within leaves, ready to be transported when the plant requires energy. They are tiny reservoirs of light and water, patiently awaiting the moment when they will fuel a root, blossom, or fruit. You feel the subtle power in this waiting, the quiet strength of something small carrying immense energy, the gentle persistence that sustains the forest and all it nurtures. You pause in a small clearing, breathing slowly, aware of the life surrounding you. You notice the interplay between sunlight, water, oxygen, and sugar, how each contributes to the rhythm of growth and sustenance. You feel yourself connected to this cycle, each inhalation and exhalation mirroring the forest's own exchanges. You sense the continuity of energy and life, a soft pulse running through the veins of every leaf, every root, every being around you. Sugar is more than energy. It is potential, nourishment, and connection. You imagine each molecule as a tiny, quiet story, carrying the sun's gift, the water's journey, and the leaf's alchemy. It is patient, precise, and essential. The forest thrives on these molecules, and you thrive by sharing in their indirect gifts, inhaling oxygen, consuming food, and feeling the pulse of energy carried invisibly through your own body. You notice the soft power in this, the quiet generosity of nature, and the intimacy of the processes that support all life. As the sun dips lower, the leaves shimmer, veins outlined in green, veins carrying sugars to roots and buds alike. You feel the forest's pulse in your own body, a slow rhythm of transformation and sustenance. Every breath, every movement, every pulse connects you to this hidden work, reminding you that life is sustained in cycles, quietly and gently, patiently and endlessly. You sense the soft power of energy transformed into sugar, the potential waiting to nourish, to grow, to sustain, and to continue the quiet rhythm of life. And as you step forward, leaving the glade behind, your mind drifts toward the larger rhythm of the forest. The changing seasons, the play of light and shadow, the subtle adjustments that keep life balanced. The journey of sugar is only one thread in this tapestry, leading naturally into the next chapter, where you will wander through the seasons of light and shadow, feeling how life adapts and responds to the soft, shifting rhythm of the sun. You step onto a forest path, sunlight drifting in through the canopy in shifting patterns. Each leaf catches light differently as the day moves slowly across the sky. You notice the play of shadows on the forest floor, dappled shapes that dance gently with the breeze. The energy that once formed sugar within leaves now interacts with the changing light, adjusting to its intensity, its angle, and its warmth. You feel the rhythm of these shifts, the subtle pulse of day and night, and the forest seems to breathe with you, alive in a delicate balance of illumination and shade. The seasons make themselves known quietly, in ways that the eye might miss if you are not attentive. Spring sunlight is fresh, soft, and eager, encouraging buds to swell and young leaves to unfurl. You notice the tender green of new growth, absorbing energy efficiently, capturing every available photon. You sense patience in this, a gentle waiting, as the forest responds to the lengthening days and the increasing warmth. Each leaf moves subtly, tilting toward light, maximizing its intake, ensuring that sugar and energy flow to every part of the plant. Summer sunlight brings a different intensity. The canopy is thick and heavy with foliage, and you feel the weight of the day pressing gently on the forest. Light filters through in stronger beams, and leaves adjust once more. Some close slightly, reducing exposure to prevent damage, while others expand, capturing the brilliance of long, bright days. You feel the forest's intelligence in these movements, the quiet adaptation that balances energy absorption with protection. Every branch, every leaf, every vein participates in this orchestration, responding to the sun's journey across the sky. Autumn arrives gradually, a subtle transformation of color and energy. You notice how chlorophyll diminishes, revealing reds, oranges, and yellows hidden beneath the green. The forest seems to whisper stories of time, change, and preparation. You sense a gentle slowing, a conserving of energy, as the leaves prepare for the colder months. The sugar created in earlier seasons now supports storage in roots, buds, and woody tissues. You feel the intimacy of this preparation, the soft rhythm of life adjusting to light and shadow, day and night, growth and rest. Winter brings a quieter rhythm. Light is lower, colder, and sparser. You notice how the forest seems to conserve itself, the trees holding onto energy in hidden chambers. Leaves may have fallen, leaving bare branches, yet even in apparent stillness, life continues. Sap moves slowly through stems, water rises cautiously from roots, and remaining leaves capture whatever photons are available. You feel the patience in this, the enduring rhythm of survival, and the soft, gentle resilience of life waiting for the sun's return. Throughout the day and across the seasons, you notice the adaptability of leaves. Each responds to light intensity, angle, and duration. You imagine them as dancers, bending, folding, and tilting, following invisible cues from the sun and the sky. Each chlorophyll molecule adjusts its absorption. Each vein regulates flow. Each cell participates in this quiet choreography. You feel connected to this rhythm, sensing the subtle adjustments in your own body as sunlight warms your skin and the air carries gentle changes in temperature and humidity. You pause beside a small clearing where sunlight filters in through a gap in the canopy. Shadows shift slowly across the forest floor, marking the passage of hours. You notice how light interacts with leaves at different angles, how each surface is designed to maximize energy intake, and how the forest as a whole responds to these fluctuations. There is an elegance in this adaptation, a patient intelligence that requires neither thought nor effort. You feel your mind quieting, your breath slowing, as you attune to the soft pulse of life unfolding in synchrony with the seasons. Water and sugar continue their quiet work in the leaves, veins, and roots, responding to the seasonal rhythm. You notice how sugar is stored or distributed according to sunlight availability and temperature, how water movement adapts to the cold or warmth, and how oxygen release adjusts with the rate of photosynthesis. You feel the forest as a living, breathing organism, a network of responsive parts, each adapting to subtle changes in light and shadow. It is an intelligence without words, a rhythm without sound. Yet it is palpable in every movement, every breath, every soft rustle of leaves. You wander further into the forest, noticing subtle variations in color, texture, and temperature. Morning light brings a fresh glow, warming dew-laden leaves. Afternoon sunlight is warmer, more direct, energizing leaves and encouraging evaporation. Twilight softens the light, cooling the forest, slowing molecular processes, and preparing the rhythm for night. You feel the intimacy of this daily cycle, the gentle transitions that sustain life, and the way each season layers its own patterns over the forest's quiet pulse. Leaves themselves carry the memory of these cycles. Chlorophyll responds differently depending on season, some absorbing more efficiently, some less. You imagine the pigments adjusting, the molecular dances continuing in perfect harmony with environmental cues. Water and sugar flow according to need, guiding growth, supporting buds, and sustaining roots through subtle changes. You feel gratitude for the precision of this adaptation, the quiet intelligence that ensures life continues despite shifts in light, temperature, and energy availability. As sunlight begins to fade in the late afternoon, shadows lengthen, stretching across trunks and mossy ground. You notice how leaves adjust one last time, capturing fading rays, tilting to catch warmth, ensuring that even the smallest remaining energy contributes to sugar formation, oxygen release, and water movement. You feel the patience, the gentleness, and the resilience of this process, and you notice how your own awareness has synchronized with the forest's rhythm. You breathe deeply, absorbing energy, light, and calm. The interplay of light and shadow continues, day after day, season after season. You sense the continuity of life in these cycles, the patient adaptation of leaves, and the gentle orchestration of energy through water, sugar, and oxygen. You notice the invisible threads connecting each leaf to every branch, every root, and every creature in the forest. There is a rhythm here, slow and unhurried, a reminder that life persists through delicate adjustment, quiet patience, and unwavering connection. As you step forward, sunlight fading into a softer glow, your mind drifts to the intricate networks that underlie this rhythm. Roots, stems, veins, and leaves all connected in delicate balance. You sense the invisible pulses of energy, water, and sugar threading through the forest, linking every living being in quiet harmony. And as you wander toward the next grove, your thoughts are drawn toward the connections that reach even further. The invisible threads of life binding roots, leaves, stems, and you step softly among the trees, feeling the gentle resistance of moss underfoot, the quiet hum of the forest around you. Sunlight filters in through the canopy, moving in shifting patterns as the breeze stirs the leaves. As you breathe in, you become aware of more than just the air, the light, the leaves. You sense the invisible threads connecting every living thing. Each leaf is linked to roots below, to veins within, to branches reaching for sunlight above. Each molecule of water, sugar, and oxygen moves along these hidden pathways, sustaining life quietly, patiently, invisibly. You imagine the roots beneath your feet, stretching deep into the soil, interwoven with the roots of other plants. They share water, nutrients, and messages in ways that cannot be seen but can be sensed. Tiny root hairs reach into the dark, searching for sustenance, guided by gradients of minerals, moisture, and chemical signals. You feel the intimacy of this underground network, a silent, living web that mirrors the canopy above, connecting one tree to another, one plant to another, through delicate, unseen channels. Above ground, leaves and stems form another network, one bathed in sunlight. Chlorophyll captures light, water and nutrients are drawn upward, and sugars move downward, all along invisible pathways. You picture energy flowing like a gentle river, passing from one molecule to another, from one cell to the next, from one leaf to another. Each part of the plant participates in this quiet conversation, and you realize that no leaf, no root, no stem acts alone. Every movement, every pulse, contributes to a greater interconnected whole. The air itself carries these threads of life. Oxygen rises from leaves and drifts, mingling with carbon dioxide, allowing photosynthesis to continue elsewhere. You inhale and exhale, feeling the invisible exchange, and sense the connection between your own body and the forest around you. Every breath you take has been touched by countless leaves, by photons captured in sunlight, by water drawn from distant soil. You feel a gentle intimacy in this, as if life itself is whispering through air, connecting every living thing through invisible, yet profoundly real, threads. You wander toward a stream, listening to its soft murmur. Water, too, participates in this web, moving from roots to leaves, carrying nutrients, supporting chemical reactions, and eventually returning to the soil or the air through evaporation. You imagine each drop traveling patiently, joining the network, sustaining life in ways that are often invisible to the eye. The stream connects distant trees, mosses, flowers, and grasses, forming an intricate pattern that reflects the interconnectedness of the forest. You sense the gentle, unbroken continuity of energy, matter, and life. You pause to kneel beside a mossy log, letting your fingers brush against its velvety surface. Tiny threads of fungi, roots, and microbial networks intertwine beneath your touch, linking this log to the soil and to distant trees. Sugars produced in leaves may travel along these threads, nourishing neighbors far from where the sun shines most brightly. You feel the intimacy of this quiet generosity, the patient sharing of resources, and the subtle intelligence of life ensuring that energy and sustenance flow where they are needed most. Birds flit overhead, insects hum around your feet, and small mammals rustle through fallen leaves. Each is part of the network, taking energy and returning it in various forms, whether as carbon dioxide, waste, or organic matter. You sense that these invisible threads extend beyond the plants themselves, linking the forest as a whole into a living, breathing system. The forest is alive not only in its visible movements but in the invisible exchanges of energy and matter, in the quiet collaboration that sustains every being. You take a deep breath and imagine photons from the sun, absorbed by chlorophyll, transformed into sugar, and then carried through veins and roots. Oxygen rises and drifts into the air, water circulates, microbes interact, and every leaf, stem, and root participates in this endless web. The threads of life are everywhere, some moving energy, others nutrients, others messages, and all contribute to a harmonious whole. You feel the rhythm of this web resonate through your own body, connecting you to the forest, to the air, to the water, and to every living creature that shares this ecosystem. As you walk slowly, you notice subtle signs of communication between plants. Some release chemical signals when stressed, warning neighbors to prepare for drought or predation. Others adjust growth patterns in response to the presence of competing roots. You feel the intelligence of these unseen connections, a patient awareness woven into every molecule, every cell, every root tip. The forest is aware not as a single mind, but as an intricate web of life, sensing, responding, and thriving through collaboration. The sun begins to lower in the sky, and shadows lengthen across the forest floor. You notice how the patterns of light interact with the networks of leaves, roots, and air, guiding energy and matter along their invisible paths. Even in the dimming light, the threads continue to function, quietly sustaining life. You sense the continuity of this web, the unbroken rhythm of energy and matter flowing through countless living things. There is comfort in this, a gentle reassurance that life persists through connection, not isolation, and that nothing exists truly alone. You kneel once more, closing your eyes and feeling the pulse of the forest beneath your hands, through the soil, and in the air. Every breath you take has been influenced by these invisible threads. Photons captured in distant leaves, oxygen rising and mingling with air, sugar flowing through veins, water traveling from distant roots. You feel yourself a part of this network, your body woven into the tapestry of life. The forest and your breath, your steps, your heartbeat, all are threads in a quiet, living web. The more you tune in, the more expansive the connections become. Roots, leaves, water, sugar, oxygen, and even sunlight link in a vast, invisible pattern of energy and matter. You sense the gentle pulse of life running through it, a rhythm older than the forest, older than you, yet present in every instant. There is a quiet poetry in this interconnectedness, a reminder that every action, every molecule, every breath participates in sustaining the delicate balance of life. As dusk begins to settle, you rise, feeling the forest's intricate web all around you. Each step forward, each breath, each glance reminds you of the invisible connections supporting everything you see and everything you cannot see. The threads of life bind roots, leaves, stems, and air into a harmonious whole, a quiet pulse that continues day and night, through seasons and years, linking every living being in gentle, unseen harmony. And as night falls softly over the forest, your thoughts drift toward the final chapter of this journey. The eternal rhythm of leaves and light, a soft, endless green whisper that continues even in darkness, reminding you that life flows, transforms, and endures in every invisible thread that connects us all. Night begins to settle over the forest, a soft veil of shadow draping across the leaves. The air cools gently, carrying faint scents of soil, moss, and lingering sunlight. You pause and breathe deeply, sensing the continuity of life in this quiet hour. Even as the sun dips beyond the horizon, the rhythm of photosynthesis and respiration continues, unseen but unbroken. Leaves hold the energy of the day, roots retain the sweetness of sugars formed in sunlight, water rests in veins and soil, and oxygen lingers in the air, gently sustaining every breath you take. You lie on a patch of moss, letting the forest envelope you. The rustle of leaves, the distant trickle of a stream, the whisper of a gentle breeze, all form a soft symphony of life. You feel connected to it, aware that your own breath mirrors the exhalation of the forest. Every inhalation draws in oxygen released by countless leaves. Every exhalation contributes carbon dioxide back to the network, allowing photosynthesis to continue tomorrow. There is no hurry, no interruption, only continuity, a gentle cycle older than memory, older than the tallest trees, older than you. The green of chlorophyll, though invisible in darkness, still carries energy stored from daylight. Sugars formed within leaves and stems drift through veins, nourishing roots, buds, and flowers. You imagine the tiny molecules, resting yet ready, holding sunlight in invisible form, prepared to fuel growth when the sun returns. The forest, though quiet, is alive in ways you cannot see, a gentle hum of energy and transformation. You sense the intimacy of this persistence, the quiet dedication that ensures life endures through night and day, season after season. Even the air seems to carry the memory of sunlight. Oxygen floats effortlessly, mingling with night air, still providing the essential breath of life to every creature within and beyond the forest. You inhale slowly, feeling your lungs fill with molecules created by leaves, water, and photons hours or even days before. It is humbling to recognize that your very being is composed of these quiet transformations, that the rhythm of your breath is intertwined with the unceasing pulse of the forest. You notice the gentle movements of nocturnal creatures. A small rodent scurries across the underbrush, an owl glides silently overhead, insects hum faintly in the shadows. All participate in the forest's eternal exchange, breathing, consuming, and releasing. You sense the continuity in their motions, how each life depends on energy stored and released by plants, how each organism contributes to the ongoing cycle. There is no rush here, only patience, persistence, and a profound interconnection. The forest floor glows faintly with reflected moonlight, revealing the veins of leaves and the subtle outline of roots beneath the soil. You imagine the sugars continuing to move within plants, delivering energy to where it is needed most, sustaining growth, preparing buds, nourishing fungi, and feeding countless microorganisms. You sense the quiet intelligence of these networks, how each leaf, stem, and root functions in harmony with its neighbors. Even in darkness, energy continues its journey, a soft, unbroken whisper of life. You close your eyes, letting your senses absorb the forest's rhythm. You feel the pulse of energy flowing through your own body, fueled by sugars formed by sunlight, water drawn from soil, and oxygen drawn from leaves. Every heartbeat, every breath, every pulse connects you to the ongoing work of photosynthesis, the slow dance of molecules, the patient rhythm of growth. You sense yourself as part of this larger whole, both observer and participant, connected through invisible threads of energy, matter, and life. The rustling leaves above seem to speak in a language older than words, a gentle whisper reminding you that life never truly stops. Daylight energy rests within leaves, sugar nourishes roots and branches, water flows in silent continuity, and oxygen drifts through the air in quiet generosity. The forest, though resting, continues its work, a patient symphony of transformation and sustenance. You feel the serenity of being part of something larger, timeless, and unwavering. Even in the deepest shadows, you imagine chlorophyll molecules resting, still vibrating with the energy of captured light. Electrons, once excited by photons, return gently to their stable states, leaving behind sugar and oxygen as tangible gifts of sunlight. You sense the intimacy of this hidden labor, the subtle artistry that underlies life itself. Every leaf is a canvas, every molecule a brushstroke, and every breath a connection to the unseen processes sustaining existence. Water continues its silent journey as well, moving slowly through roots and veins, supporting cells, and maintaining the pulse of life even at night. You imagine droplets climbing slowly, threading through stems, arriving in leaves, ready to participate once more in the sunlight to come. Every molecule has its place in this rhythm, each pulse contributing to the quiet elegance of the forest's life. You feel gratitude for this persistent flow, for the patient transformation of sunlight, water, and air into energy and sustenance. You notice your own heartbeat syncing softly with the forest's rhythms. Inhale, exhale, pulse, pause. The same gentle rhythm that has guided life for eons. You sense the continuity in all directions. Roots stretching into the soil, branches reaching for light, air moving through leaves, energy circulating endlessly in quiet harmony. You feel the intimacy of your connection to every living thing, understanding that the cycle of photosynthesis, oxygen, and sugar extends far beyond the visible, linking you to forests, fields, oceans, and sky. As the night deepens, you lie still, letting the forest wrap around you like a soft, green blanket. Oxygen surrounds you, sugar nourishes every living cell, water circulates invisibly, and the energy of sunlight rests within leaves and chloroplasts. The forest exhales and you exhale in return. There is no separation, only flow, continuity, and shared life. You are part of the rhythm, a living thread woven into the eternal green whisper of leaves and light. You feel the forest's patience, its unhurried persistence, its quiet generosity. Life continues, transforming energy, sustaining growth, adapting to light and shadow, connecting roots, leaves, and creatures in invisible networks. Even as you drift towards sleep, you carry this rhythm with you, sensing the soft pulse of photosynthesis, the gentle movement of sugars, the quiet release of oxygen, and the ongoing circulation of water. The forest and your body share a continuous dance, a gentle cycle older than you, older than the trees, yet present in every heartbeat. And as your eyelids grow heavy, you sense the forest breathing alongside you, an endless symphony of light, water, and life. The green whisper continues, patient, gentle, eternal, connecting every molecule, every leaf, every root, every breath. You lie still, cradled by the rhythm of existence, and drift into sleep, carrying with you the quiet, unbroken pulse of the forest's eternal green energy.